You're listening to Side Hustle Pro, the podcast that teaches you to build and grow your side hustle from passion project to profitable business. And I'm your host, Nicaila Matthews-Okome. So let's get started. Hey guys, hey, welcome back to Side Hustle Pro. It's Nicaila, and today in the guest chair, I have Shontay Lundy. Shontay is the CEO, creator, and founder of Black Girl Sunscreen. In 2016, when Shontay became tired of using sunscreen that left a white residue, she decided to leverage her MBA and her knack for business to develop a melanin-friendly option for women who look like us. While working to build awareness for Black Girl Sunscreen, Shontay has continued to fuel her passions by traveling the world, educating women of color on the importance of wearing sunscreen. Shontay has emerged as a thought leader and innovator in the beauty industry, and her success has been chronicled by Forbes, Business Insider, Teen Vogue, InStyle, and countless other national publications. In addition, Black Girl Sunscreen is the first Black-owned sunscreen brand, indie Black-owned sunscreen brand, sold in Target's sun care section full-time, and you can also find Black Girl Sunscreen at Ulta, CVS, Walgreens, Macy's.com, and Nordstrom. Let's get right into it. Well, Shontay, welcome to the guest chair. I'm so glad to have you here, and I can't wait to chat.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been kind of interesting to get us connected.
Right.
with my crazy schedule, and even this morning, yesterday I had a photo shoot, and my stylist, she did like this top knot kind of fishtail deal on me. And when I got home, it was like itching like crazy. I'm like, oh, this pony gotta go. Right?
Yes.
I literally
the ponies are so hard. They look so good, but for me, it's like it starts to hurt my brain. There's no like in between. It's just brain hurting tight for it to look good.
And there's so much product, so it's like itching and stuff.
Yes.
So I like yank it off, and I'm like, all right, I'll just wear my natural hair tomorrow.
And your natural hair is beautiful.
Thank you. And I don't wear it often. So this morning, I'm like having trouble with it. I had trouble with my hair. And I'm like getting frustrated because I'm like 50 minutes in. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I have, I know what my calendar is. I'm like, I got to get this together. And finally, I just like left the house. So, just
it's beautiful. The curls, I see the curl definition, and you look gorgeous. So let's jump right into this now. What an intro, right? For those of you who don't know Shontay, please help us to learn more about who you are and what you do currently with Black Girl Sunscreen.
The story has developed over time. I am the oldest of six. Both my parents were in the military. So I was born in Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Wow.
And spent some time in Germany, and was raised in upstate New York, and went to school in upstate New York as well. And then after I graduated, I moved down to South Florida, Miami, to pursue my graduate degree. And while I was doing my graduate work, I worked in corporate America for 12 years, and transitioned out because I felt like everything that I was doing just kind of had like reached its max potential. And transitioning out has probably been one of the best things that I've ever done in my life, because it gave me time to reflect. It gave me a break, because up until that point, my life has been so structured, whether it's, getting up, and this may seem very small and kind of like downplayed, but starting kindergarten, right? Like you're up, 7:00 in the morning to be at school, and you're playing, you're learning, but there's a routine and there's a schedule there. Yeah. And then you do that for 12 years, right? Up until, 12th grade graduation. And then you do another 4 years, you do your undergrad. And then I decided to do graduate, and then you start working. So for so much of your life, you're going to someone else's beat, right? So the transition out for me allowed me to think. It allowed me to do nothing.
I've never heard it phrased like that, like a transition out. Like you were just sure, like I'm leaving. I'm coming out of this. Did you know at that point exactly what you were going to do and how you were going to make money? Had you started Black Girl Sunscreen?
No, I hadn't. And I transitioned out. I went to work, and I didn't know that I was going to transition out. I decided that day.
Wait now, Shontay.
Yeah,
So
I
this
never
was,
shared this story.
please share this story. I need to know, was this a your decision transition or a
Yes,
mutual decision? Okay.
yes. It started off as mine, and then it became kind of mutual, and
Mm-hmm.
then it just kind of made sense. And I think that this is a really hard decision for many people. But when I think about people and them leaving or even getting terminated, it's
Yeah.
a hard decision. And some people are unhappy at their current roles in current organizations, and they do nothing about it. And they need that motivation.
Yeah.
They need that push. I didn't need the push. It was just like, okay, all right, this is a difficult conversation, but I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't looked back since. So it was this decision that, after just a conversation, it was just like, I don't know if I need this. This might be the best thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Some people never do anything about it. You often hear people complain. We all have the coworkers that complain, or maybe, we were the complainers at some point, and then we just go back in day after day. And it's not that you need to all leave or transition out, but what are we doing about making sure we're happy? Like, you have the power to choose a different role, a different career path, a different company. So what are you doing to move closer to that rather than staying where you are?
And be unhappy or not reach your full potential. I've found that in every organization, there is someone that is talking stuff,
Yep.
right? Why are we at that point? That's my true question.
So when did you start Black Girl Sunscreen? At what point?
The idea came in about 2015. I didn't do anything about it until 2016, and then we got to market 2017. It takes about 8 to 12 months to actually formulate, to get through testing and all that good stuff. The ideation came from a space of, okay, are other women of color going to wear this?
Yeah.
And I didn't use the words women of color in
Hmm.
2015. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
I used the words Black women,
Yep.
Black girls.
Right.
And over time, our vernacular has transitioned because of being inclusive.
Hmm.
This was a time of Black girl magic. And honestly, if Black girl magic wasn't a thing, I don't know if Black Girl Sunscreen would be where we are today.
Wow.
Because there came a sense of empowerment with those
Yes.
words. With those words.
And it was very clear who it was for.
In both respects, right? Black Girl
Right.
Magic meant, let's go, Black women. We've been doing this for a long time. And now we should be recognized for our efforts, for our works,
Hmm.
for the strength that we endure, for all of these things that we've just kind of been like overlooked,
Yep.
right? So, with that just kind of, in the backdrop, I always have ideas. Like I have ideas like right now, but
Yeah.
I've always had ideas, but I was trained to think that you do this corporate route, you go into these organizations that have benefits and that give you a salary and
Hmm.
you work your way up to whatever position it is that you want. So to be a so-called entrepreneur, like I didn't know what that meant. I was just starting a product or I wanted a product that didn't have me looking crazy
Right.
or any uglier that I felt by being a dark skinned woman,
Ooh,
right?
that's heavy. Yeah.
Very. Um, and I wanted to be able to go out in the sun and not think twice about it. And that's how Black Girl Sunscreen came about, by thinking about all those things. So let's talk about the complexion thing for a second.
Hmm.
You can see me. Um, I'm a dark chocolate. I love my complexion now, right?
Hmm.
But coming up, no, I didn't love my complexion. And honestly, I didn't want to get darker. And the misconception with sunscreen is that it prevents you from getting darker, and it doesn't. It just prevents you from, getting burned. So when my friends would ask me, like, hey, let's go to the beach, my first response is like, well, I'm going to need to buy an umbrella.
Yeah.
And, at late 20s, maybe even early 30s, like a beach umbrella for $35, $40 was costly to go to the beach. Like, is it
Right.
necessary, Shante? Right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It was for me, right?
Mm.
Because I got color. Going to rooftop parties or barbecues. Well, is there going to be an awning? Because I want to
Wow.
post up underneath the awning. Because I didn't want to get darker.
Wow.
Um, Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought sunscreen would be the solution to that. No,
Hmm.
that wasn't the case at all. But here we are, 6, 7 years later, and I'm outside whenever I can.
Hmm.
I love my complexion. Getting color is like one of my favorite things. I had some long curly hair and it was like a blonde, brownish color. And my stylist was like, "Okay, we know you like to be in the sun, but certain hair colors look great on certain complexions. I just want you to be mindful." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Excuse,
but I don't care, right?
yeah,
Like I didn't care."
excuse me. Hmm.
So Black Girl Sunscreen was a combination of just so many thoughts that I had and so many just myths I wanted to bust. And I wanted women of color to feel good and look good while being out in the sun. Why can't we wear sun protection without just looking crazy? And the fact of it is that general market brands
Hmm.
pre 2016 said, well, it doesn't matter what you look like with our products on you because it's meant to fight UV rays.
Right.
So we're going to give you this and you're going to wear it, take it or leave it.
Right. And just be happy that you can wear it. Like be purple and be happy. Be blue and be happy. But you
100%.
said this is not gonna cut it. How easy is it to find a chemist to formulate your idea? You have this idea now. Did you have a chemistry background? How did you find a chemist? How easy was that?
No, and it was strategic because I wanted my chemist and manufacturer and the operations to be in South Florida. So I was strategic in that standpoint, but also very limited. So,
Why South Florida?
well, South Florida was strategic because it's close to
Hmm.
the port of Miami. So if you are sourcing or even exporting goods, it limits the cost of freight when you are close to a port. So, for example,
Mm.
if I was based in Nebraska or even Georgia, right, and we
Hmm.
have product going out, that
Yep.
means it would have to be trucked to the nearest port. And being in Miami, even Fort Lauderdale, we're close to the port. I mean, it's 30 minutes.
So how does being close to a port help you?
Saves in freight costs, and then turnover in terms of production. So let's say you get a container or a pallet, whatever,
Hmm.
wherever your business is at,
Yep.
gets cleared. I mean, if you have certain things dialed in, it can go to your filler. It gets filled. I mean, you could ship the next day to your
Yeah.
retailers or to whatever your warehouse to then, get your product out to your customers. So the thought process there was to streamline, the supply kind of flow.
Okay. So the chemist piece. Now, once you were like, okay, I want this person to be in South Florida as well, was
Mhm.
that so you could just meet them and
Yeah, to be able to pop in and out to see how they're running their business,
yeah.
to make sure that I'm visible. And you don't know how things are going to go when you first start, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to oversee every process. The founder that I am is very hands on. I
Hmm.
don't have to know everything about everything, but I like to know a little about everything. So
Hmm.
departments work in silos, but I'm popping in, trying to figure out, hey, like, what's this going on? What's the update? So even from that perspective, it's understanding what challenges, let's say, my suppliers may have, my chemist may have, or even my warehouse may have. They're all
Hmm.
in the same spot, 30 minutes apart, and they all know each other. So it could be something so simple as like, hey, you know what? We actually can't get a carrier today, but
Okay.
we're going to send somebody from our warehouse in a box truck to go pick up product. Now, we couldn't do that if we had, operations in different states.
Right. And then when you were actually going to find this person, I'm always curious, where did you start? Did you just Google chemist in South Florida?
Yeah, more keywords than that.
Hmm.
But chemist, sunscreen, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, manufacturer, South Florida, right? To kind of broaden it too.
Yeah.
So yes, those are the keywords. And I did use Google heavily. And even though social has become very informal now,
Yeah.
right? Where people are constantly sliding into each other's DMs and it's like, all right, let's move it over to email, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
I was that
A little
person,
too
but
casual for me now,
yeah,
The
yeah.
DMs,
But
it's nuance. It's
you,
nuance. You can start something there, but you can't really try to do business, you know?
it also hadn't gotten to where it is today in 2016, right?
Right,
You
right.
weren't sliding into businesses DMs.
Mhm.
So Google was the place that I went. It wasn't, Instagram. It wasn't
Right.
even referrals because I don't know too many people that play in the sunscreen sandbox.
Moving back into the whole development of the product piece, I'm curious to know how the funding piece worked for you, financing this. I think that's a piece that intimidates people a little bit. Like they think they have to have tens of thousands of dollars. How much did it cost to get started? And where did you get the money from?
Sun care is expensive. I saved my money from my corporate positions, not knowing what I would ever spend it on.
Hmm.
And I started Black Girl Sunscreen with $33,000. And my minimum order was 5,000 units. So even our minimums are a little bit higher than most industries. You can run, I think, certain products on 500 units, 1,000 units, and ours was 5,000. So to jump in that space, in that category, it does cost a little bit. I wasn't to the point where we were able to prove the concept. So raising money hadn't even crossed my mind. It was, okay, I have this money. What do I want to do with it? I don't want to continue to live in Los Angeles and blow it
Yeah.
because I was that person for 4 months. I didn't work. So I just depleted my savings.
Oh.
And I'm not too much of a planner. I think that things will just happen. And that was my mentality. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not, some people will say, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to save this $33,000 or $35,000 for retirement. I'm like, well, I'm in my early 30s. Like, yeah, retire. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do this, and then maybe I'll retire. I can retire sooner. And that was
Right.
my thought process. I didn't have a fear. I didn't have a
Mm.
fear of losing the money. I didn't have a fear of, not making it work. It was like, well, this is the money I saved. Now I'm going to go harder.
Right.
I'm going to go harder. Now, not everybody has the luxury to save. They
Hmm.
don't. So I've seen crowdfunding. I've seen friends and family donate. I've seen raising right up front.
By the way, when you say minimum order quantity, you're talking about the amount the manufacturers require you to order before they'll work with you, right? Not like you were fulfilling for a store yet.
Right?
Okay. So now let's talk about this whole, you said it yourself, proving concept. What does that mean? And how did you go about doing that?
So the concept was unproven because not typically, Black people weren't wearing sunscreen,
Hmm.
right? So, I mean, today, as we go out and try to raise a second round, we're proven, the concept is proven because we're in 10,000 doors across the United States and 8 retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept is proven, but what does that actually mean? It means that people need to buy your product. You know, it's unfortunate that validation may come from a corporation, like going into a major retailer. Then folks start to see, like, oh, well, you're not this company that's being ran out of your basement, or maybe you still
Yeah.
are, but you've secured this huge partnership, right? So somebody believes in you. Somebody is saying that it's real. Proof of concept is growing your customer base and having people show that your product works
Yes.
in a big way. So that takes patience and time. We
Hmm.
started in 2016. Our first retailer came in 2019, and everyone's path is very different, and their journey looks different.
You're so right about that. I definitely heard about you in 2019 for the first time. And I was like, where has this been all my life? Because when you initially said Black people weren't wearing sunscreen, I was like, what are you talking about, Shontay? Somebody was wearing sunscreen. But then I remembered I went on a trip. I was in the freaking Mediterranean in 2015. Oh no, 2013. And I remember, I put on a little bit, but my concern was this is going to not match my makeup and I'm going to look crazy in these pictures. So I'm
Mhm.
in the blazing sun, no sunscreen protection. And I look back and I just kick myself. So you're so right because we didn't have something that worked with our skin tone.
And even, we talk about raising capital and improving concept.
Yes.
Black Girl Sunscreen is creating the data
Hmm.
today as we speak
Yep.
because when I started, there was no data to go off of. When we're looking at, let's just use, the United States, we're
Right.
looking at the lighter skin population. So
Mm.
it's not applicable to our demo,
Yes.
right? So it would have been, I think, extremely difficult to go out with this concept and get any type of funds. So we did it by our D2C sales, direct to consumer, right off of the website. And that amount of sales is what said, hey, somebody cares,
Yep.
somebody's interested, somebody's buying it. Here's how we can expand. Here's the plan.
You hear that? That is the sound of another sale on Shopify, the e-commerce platform with everything you need to run a successful online business. I use Shopify to sell my Side Hustle Pro merch over on sidehustleshop.co. And if you have a signature gold Side Hustle Pro mug, then it came from my Shopify store. I love Shopify because Shopify makes it simple to sell to anyone from anywhere. Whether you're selling gold mugs or candles, start selling with Shopify and join the platform, simplifying commerce for millions of businesses worldwide. With Shopify, you can customize your online store to your brand, discover new customers, and build the relationships that will keep them coming back. Shopify covers all the sales channels to successfully grow your business, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, even across social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And thanks to 24/7 support and free on-demand business courses, Shopify is here to help you succeed every step of the way. It's how every minute new sellers around the world make their first sale with Shopify, and you can too. This podcast actually started as a side hustle, as you know, and it's now my full-time job, and running my shop on Shopify helps make this possible. When you're ready to take your idea to the world, do it with Shopify, the commerce platform powering millions of businesses down the street and around the globe. Now it's your turn to try Shopify for free and start selling anywhere. This is possibility powered by Shopify. So sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/hustlepro. Go to shopify.com/hustlepro to start selling online today. Shopify.com/hustlepro. How did you start to raise awareness? In that 3-year span before you got into the retailer, what was the marketing strategy, the go-to-market strategy to really get people to start purchasing?
The strategy was to penetrate the regional market. So South Florida, right? We're in the sunny state. You would think that everybody wears sunscreen. Nope, they don't. The AIDS Foundation walk, and I love this organization because health is health.
Yes.
And I'm on the beach, and it's like 100 degrees, and we're doing a walk, and people are not wearing sunscreen in South Florida. So for me, the strategy was, how do we get this population to believe, to see the benefits, to understand the repercussions if they don't? So going out to every event that we possibly could, it didn't matter if there were 50 people, 10 people, or 500 people. We wanted to be in the space. And we talked to everyone. It didn't matter if a person gave us a side eye or was just like, no, I don't have time. And that's okay, right? But somebody will stop and listen to you. And that somebody may tell their friend, their relative, a coworker, whoever. The philosophy today at Black Girl Sunscreen is, make sure when you have a conversation that you leave that person as an advocate. They don't have to purchase. They don't have to follow us on social, but they will say, man, I just met this amazing person from this amazing company, and they are doing amazing work. Because it could be a lighter skin complexion person, and they may not think that the product is for them. But you know
Right.
what? They may have that Black friend. They may have that person of color that they're like, wait, you're not wearing sunscreen? I was just giving a whole lesson. So, yeah. So our strategy then was to be community based. It's still our strategy today, to
Okay.
be in places where you don't typically see corporations.
How big was your team at this point?
Oh,
When,
oh,
yeah,
one
were
to
you
two, three
able to pay
people.
people?
What was important to me was the web developer, and then I had a social media kind of manager. She was
Mhm.
based in Hong Kong, and I
Wow.
outsourced that role to her. She just graduated from medical school. I'm so proud
Wow.
and happy for her. Yeah, but she was posting 14 hours ahead. But she was up 2, 3 in the morning trying to get the graphics, and I appreciated this young woman. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes.
So her it was what I could afford at the time too, right? By
Mhm.
outsourcing. So it was me, her, and then our web developer. And then when I had to do events, I had to ask friends like and family, like, hey, do you think you could show up? And
Yeah.
there were a lot of times where it was a no. There were times where it was like, yeah, I'm gonna come, day of, no show. And
Oh,
I'm lugging, the activation stuff and, pitching up the pavilion and putting on the tablecloths and just telling myself, this is how I know I can do it, Shontay. If you can go out here and pitch this tent and then talk to people with a smile on your face, get a couple sales, you're gonna get there.
yes.
So the team started off with really just me, and it continued to grow. We're currently a team of 16 right now, and there's still gaps. We still
Okay.
have blind spots.
It's tough. I mean, it's so hard. There's just so many things you're learning as you go. And then there's the money piece, right? So you can't hire for what you can't pay for. So as you were making money, as you're starting to grow, what were some of the things you were investing in first? Were you paying yourself or were you, just trying to reinvest back into the business and grow as fast as you could?
The discipline is important when you're starting a company. Because you have a few sales doesn't mean you just go and fire extinguish it out.
Yeah.
There has to be a reinvestment, and there also has to be a sacrifice on your own personal things.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Shantae gets her nails done every 2 weeks or 1 week? Now it might be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that can just go on pause until we get things up and running? No, Shantae did not pay herself, and I do speak in third person because I'm not even talking about me. Right?
Yeah.
It's all about Shantae. So no, Shantae was not getting paid until 2020.
Mm,
And everything went back into the business from an inventory perspective to to marketing to deciding what events we can get to. I
yeah.
mean, uh, first time I went to Essence Fest was in 2019 because
Oh,
after that was COVID,
yeah.
and I was living in Miami, and I really wanted to go, and the flights were astronomical. So I calculated the drive, and it was like 10 hours. I was like, all right, I'm gonna rent a car. I'm gonna put my cases of sunscreen in the back of the, uh,
What?
the minivan or whatever it was. Bring the tablecloth, bring the pop up tube, and I had a professional friend take a ride. We found a hotel. The
Mm.
hotels were so costly, but we wanted to make it work. So we stayed 40 minutes outside of where the main attractions were. And we just drove back and forth, in the top of the morning, end of the morning, and then back to do the activities because wanted to, we wanted to be there. And
Yeah.
that's what it takes is what are those sacrifices? How hard are you willing to go?
Oh, that is real. I love that you shared that story. You know what I'm also curious about? Since you were bringing product to Essence Fest, how many prototypes did it take you? Like, you have such a beautiful packaging, especially that signature, that original, well, to me, original black with the gold
Yep.
letters. How long did it take to get to that look and feel?
Um, Sometime. People have this like connotation of graphic designer. It has to be like this big professional thing, and I started that route. And funny enough, the renderings that I was getting, that we're just talking about the logo at first,
Mhm.
was a woman with an afro.
Can't be
Like,
black
oh,
without a woman with an afro.
first of all, I wear my hair long. You know what I mean. I wear
Yeah,
ponytail. I'm like,
right,
girl,
right.
this doesn't work. And then I went on this website and, of course, outsourced it. $25, and this man gave me like 6 options. I'm like, okay, let's build off of this one. We
Mhm.
narrowed some lines, made some lines bolder, and boom, came up with the logo of Black Girl Sunscreen. So it's the B, the G and then the S in the middle. And people ask me like, "Hey, is that S for Shontay? Was that strategic, intentional?" I'm like, I never even saw the S as Shontay.
Right,
I saw it
right.
as Black Girl Sunscreen only, right? So that's how I like you get a sense of like, yeah, it's not a Shontay brand. Like
Hmm.
this is for the people. This is for the women.
Yes.
So that was one piece of it. And now the colors was intentional. The black and the gold was intentional. So the research that I did was, all right, who are the players? How are they selling? Why are they selling?
Hmm.
Sunscreen is seen as this fun, bright product, especially on shelves.
Right.
White, orange, yellow, blue, a little bit of pink, depending on the brand. I said, okay, we got to do it differently, right? How do we elevate our look? How do we elevate the concept of sunscreen? And first of all, gold is so luxurious. It looks so great on our skin. I said, we're going to add gold. And the
Hmm.
packaging, I'm not seeing a lot of cosmetic products in black. What does that mean for the consumer psyche? What do these colors actually say? So we launched in black and gold based off of luxury, strength,
Yes.
royalty.
Love it. And did you do a targeted influencer or celebrity play? Because when I started to see it, I started to see more and more influencers with it. And that's how I actually first heard about it.
Not intentionally, we didn't have the
Yeah.
budget. My thought was give product to whoever is willing to try it, but we didn't outright pay anyone to
Hmm.
endorse the product, if you will.
Yeah.
However, our first paid influencer was Katie, K.D.
Hmm.
Albert.
Uh-huh. Yes.
From she's been in music videos. She was in a couple films. Anyway, she was our first one. She's still on our page today. If you scroll down, we didn't have an influencer marketing strategy because what our intention was is this is for the people. This is for the everyday woman,
Yeah.
right? This is why Shantae is not the face of the brand because what we are learning is that, well, if I look like this, then it's probably for me. If I don't look like this, then it's probably not for me. Still today, we have our lighter skin counterparts asking, well, like a Filipino woman, hey, can I use
Yeah.
Black Girl Sunscreen? And we're like, it's for women of color. But
Yeah.
honestly, if it's great for rich complexions, it's definitely great for fairer complexions. So that was important to us that it wasn't just an influencer that, you know, was the face of the brand. It
Hmm.
is for all women, regardless of what you
Yes.
look like. If you
Yes.
identify as a woman of color and you struggle with finding a sunscreen that doesn't give you a flashback or white residue or rubs incomplete, this is for you.
Now, have you raised money? And if so, what stage did you start to target that as a route to raise capital?
We raised in 2020. We actually secured the finances in 2020. We started to initiate conversations in 2019. It probably took about 7 conversations and 4 connections. And the reason why I say that is because conversations lead to connections. So, hey, this
Yes.
person knows this person that knows this person that knows that person. And that's how we were able to find our investor. And it took quite a bit of conversations. It
Hmm.
was not an easy sell, and even today, with our track record, it's still not an easy sell.
How did you decide on that particular investor? Like it sounds like, well, the way you're describing it sounds like kind of a zeroed in rather than kind of going the route of going on the road shows what like, and, pitching many, many VCs and trying to get as much investment as possible.
It was important that this person believed in Shantae and in Black Girl Sunscreen, and that's what came across. Her intentions
Right.
seemed, yes, pro investor, but also pro business, because if we don't do well, then there's no return on the money, right?
Right.
So also understanding, like, oh, this is a no brainer. Anyone that passes up on this, like, and that's what you
Yeah.
need is
Right.
someone not with blinders that's biased, but it's just so excited
Mm-hmm.
and someone that is going to advocate
Gets it.
for you even if they're not on a Zoom call with you. They're out with their friends and family like, oh my gosh, the founder's amazing, the company is doing really cool things, they're very progressive and forward thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how we were able to say, let's shake hands and let's do this deal. And Not everybody is as fortunate. We didn't pitch VCs
Yeah.
because we weren't at that stage. We didn't want a machine. We wanted to dabble, right?
Okay.
And honestly, for me, it has been a journey to even understand what people bring to the table when
Mm.
they have invested money and can have a say in how the
Yes.
business is ran. So maybe starting off with maybe one person as opposed to a group of people could be strategy for some.
Absolutely. And, giving yourself that time to truly understand what this will mean for your business too. That to me sounds very, very smart. And what has changed in your business since you took on an investor?
Um, I think relationships.
Mm.
Relationships, and then also someone that's able to see the picture from the picture, the business from, just not being in the weeds.
Right.
So if there are issues and I'm like, hey, this just came up, there's someone with some resources that are not running the day to day that are like, hey, here's 5 options, go ahead and make a decision.
Okay.
Right. So those are some of the benefits for me. And that's how my business has changed in sense of it's a different perspective from a different walk of life, but with the same intention that I have
So how did you get into Target?
by working extremely diligently on social, by having reviewers write articles on us. And the Google visibility is important as a
Yes.
business.
Yes.
And buyers and retailers are constantly looking for new innovations, new products. And we got a call from them.
Ooh.
So, fun fact about Black Girl Sunscreen is
Yes.
out of all the retailers, we hadn't pitched to anyone. They came to us. And we are so fortunate to be in that position. It feels so good, right? Because that means that our message is resonating.
Yeah.
That means that we are bringing some energy and some life back into sun care. And we are having the consumer look at it in a different way.
Yes. I love that. It's that brand awareness play, which is so important. And again, it's something that's nuanced because when you're trying to figure out where to spend your time, it can feel like, this doesn't matter. It's about the business, blah, blah, blah. But you mentioned it, SEO, like you coming up in search terms, like I can't imagine what would come before you for, when you're searching for sunscreen for black girls, right? Sunscreen for dark skin. And it's just
Nothing.
that nothing, nothing.
It does. I mean, it will come up the general market brands, but like
Right.
we know that that is a brand that's been playing the space for years. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, does that speak to me?
Right.
Not me.
No, we've tried that before. And how did you get prepared for Target? Because we hear all the time, even on this show, about the order quantities that you have to meet. Did you start out with less stores? Did you have a say in that? How did you get ready for this new level?
Crawl, walk, run has been the strategy of Black Girl Sunscreen for years. And it's important to understand what you can handle
Mm.
and your capacity and
Yep.
what it's like to do business with now, people that you think is not your boss, but do have a say, right? Like,
Yes, yes, yes.
so I think that with the crawl walk run approach is if you're crawling, sure, it's appropriate to start with, I don't know, 200 doors, 300 doors, whatever that door count looks like, to understand what the flow, how long it takes. You can receive a purchase order, but you have
Hmm.
to fund that purchase order before you even get paid,
Yeah.
right? And then let's say there are hiccups within the purchase order, chargebacks, defectives. How do you fund that? So for me, I wouldn't have done it any different than starting with 250 doors in markets that reflect and align with our brand, then jumping up to 800 doors and then being full chain 3 years in.
You said full
Because
chain?
Black Girl Sunscreen is full chain in Target. Yes,
Okay. So in every single Target.
correct.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is amazing. But you scaled to that. You grew to that.
Yeah, right. Not just in Target, but we're in Ulta, we're in Walgreens, we're in CVS, we're in Nordstrom Rack, we're in Macy's. So there's scaling in many different retailers, but you still have to understand what that feels like. So not even just from a supply standpoint, but like
Right.
an internal standpoint. Who in your team is overseeing these type of accounts?
Right.
Who's the contact person? How skilled are they? What
Yeah.
does that marketing look like? When you go on these bigger brands, the conglomerates, they're not sourcing customers to, let's just say, Nordstrom, to the perfume counters. They expect you to just buy it, right? But here we are as growing businesses and small businesses posting about our retailers that we're in, telling our customers to go and purchase. It's a really interesting strategy because it takes away from your website,
Yeah.
right? So you have to find this balance of sales and how to direct sales. So even that is a learning experience.
How are you navigating that?
We want to be good and strong partners to all of our retailers, and we show love because we want them to reciprocate.
Yes.
And we also want our consumers to know where they can find us other than just online. I think, understanding consumer behavior is interesting because,
Yes.
are people going to individual websites to purchase, or are they going to one website to then fill a cart, right? And recognizing that is you need to know that, like, what's going to draw somebody to your website. So we don't have an issue with it now, but I think eventually at some point, like, we may not have to name drop where we're found because people know that already.
Right.
Like,
You
where you
expect
can
it.
go find, yeah, where
Exactly.
you can find your favorite perfume.
So yeah, that's a very interesting point. And wow, I'm still like, my mind is still on full chain. Like, oh my gosh. How, you said there's 16 people on your team now, right?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Okay. I am trying to understand, Shontay, the kind of support and team you have in place to support the type of trajectory that you're on right now and the growth and scale of your business. How are you doing this?
With, doing it with a smile on my face. I'm doing it with a smile on my face, and honestly, these conversations help,
Yeah.
right? Because for this hour, it will take my mind off of whatever is happening outside of my office.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to, the core mission and vision of the business and how it does resonate with so many different people, and how hopefully my thoughts and my story will help someone that is trying to do something different.
Yeah.
So how are we doing it? We're doing it patiently with excellence.
Yes. Yes.
Patience with excellence, and realizing that competitors will come in the space, and that's okay because we need to hold hands to grow the market, right? We're not rattled by a new brand. It's okay because no one is Black Girl Sunscreen. No one is Shontay. No one knows what's going on in my thoughts, right? And if I do share it, they can't do it the way we're going to do it.
Right.
So with that, it is empowering women of color, right? The company is comprised of at least 99% women of color to do their best here, right? We want to give opportunity to junior professionals, some seasoned, but to make a difference, to do something that is impactful, that is literally changing a mindset in the world.
Before we jump into the lightning round, I would love to know, how have you and what tools or companies have you used to help you manage things like now supporting full-time employees, HR, and those kind of things that coming in as a business owner, you might not have been thinking about?
I can't even plug these people. So I'm just going to be honest. I can't plug anybody, but I will say that I'm going to talk about a win and something that has made me very excited over the last couple of months. So most companies use QuickBooks for their accounting and for reconciling and invoicing and all these things. Black Girl Sunscreen, we have just transitioned to SAP.
Okay.
Right? Which is a very advanced and robust accounting system that integrates, inventory. I mean, you do everything in the system. Minimum implementation is 4 months, right? So that's one of the tools that Black Girl Sunscreen is using to run a business that has integrity.
Oh, right. Now, SAP, that sounds official and expensive. So congratulations on making that transition. So now we're going to jump into the lightning round. Shontay, you just answer the very first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So number one, what's the top resource that comes to mind when you think of what has been a game-changing resource in your business?
I mean, our people are the resources. Them having the bomb ass ideas,
Yes.
and saying like, "Oh, did you see this? Like, oh, let's do it this way," or "Hey, we're gonna go do this walkthrough," or "Oh, let's wear these shirts." Like, honestly, like we need everyone on our team to perform at a high level. All cylinders must be going,
Yes.
and the humans are the resources that has really helped the business.
Love that. Number two, who is a non-celebrity Black woman entrepreneur who you admire, who, you strive to emulate, or you just would trade places with for a day, and why?
Never trade places with anyone.
All right. I'm gonna have to switch up my whole question. Thank you, Shontay.
Never trade places with anyone. There's some women that I would love to pick their brain that are non-celebrity. So,
Okay.
Sarah Blakely, she's a celebrity in her own right. She sold her business that she built for 20 years and is doing it as a mom. But there are some, infrastructure questions that I have. How do you navigate through these challenges? Like how did you build your business internally? Like who were your first hires, whatever. And then I can transition to even my competitor, the founder of the brand that we are compared to the most, right? They're a top performing brand. They're not in many stores, but they have a lot of market share. How are you doing this on a day-to-day, right? Yeah. We're here trying to conquer this same battle.
Yeah, that's great. Number three, what's a non-negotiable part of your day these days?
A non-negotiable is probably me just getting in the mirror and just reaffirming that I'm going to get through the day, and every day I tell myself that.
Yes. Now, number four, what is a personal habit that you think has significantly contributed to all of your success?
Being optimistic.
Love that. And then finally, please give us some parting advice for fellow Black women entrepreneurs and side hustlers who are tempted to give up, who are tired of not having that steady paycheck, or just scared of losing it if they go out and do their business idea.
Well, my first piece of advice is the crawl, walk, run strategy, because sometimes we want to sprint and we need to really figure things out and really create that foundation so there's no cracks in it. Yes. You can't fall through it. My second piece of advice is follow your intuition. That's important. And it sounds crazy, I don't base any of my decisions off data or logic.
Wait, what now?
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So what do you base it off of?
Feeling. All right, this feels good to me. It feels great.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it makes sense. Let's do it.
Well, that seems like it's working for you, and it's all about what works for you. So,
but we have other people do that stuff, right? Like, dig into numbers, analyze, trends, do the research. I mean, Black Girl Sunscreen is here with no data.
Yeah.
Not many people would do something like that without having proof.
Right.
There was no proof of concept. And I said, well, I don't need the proof. I want this. That I did what my soul told me to do.
Right.
So that's how I lead the business.
Love it. So you guys, that is Shontay, founder of Black Girl Sunscreen. Where can we connect with you and Black Girl Sunscreen after this episode?
Yeah, so it's important that if anybody does want to have a conversation with me and just needs a soundboard or an extra set of ears, you can send a message to contact@Black Girl Sunscreen.
Okay.
Attention Francis, and she'll get you on the calendar. And I think it's important that we leave it at that, because this is not to promote a Shontay, but Black Girl Sunscreen is across the United States and, 4 major retailers.
Yes.
And then you can always find the product on blackgirlsunscreen.com.
All right, guys. And there you have it. Thank you so much for being the guest chair. And I will talk to you guys next week. Hey Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.